Subscribe to my channel Arnav Verma for all latest Indian cricket updates. Click the notification bell for notifications of all the videos. So hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a special guest in Bharat Sundaresan sir. He is an author of biographies of many cricketers, of two cricketers to be precise, MS Dhoni and Suresh Raina. He has worked with Cricbuzz since a long time. He has worked with the Indian Express. He's a sports journalist. He's just awesome when you talk about his knowledge for sports and cricket. I am just a huge fan of him, so I am really honored to have him today. So welcome sir to the show.
Nah, it's my honor to be on your show, Arnav. Thank you for the kind welcome. And I think hopefully by the end of the show, you'll stop calling me sir. That will be that for me will be the biggest sign of respect from you.
So yeah, so like my first when we talk about your life and like how you went into the field of journalism, just like my first question, like I just wanted to ask you about how did you went in go into that field of journalism, like since in your childhood. Did you want to play for India, like did you want to play cricket for India, for your country? So like what were the stoppages in life and all of that? So like that was my question to you first of all.
I wanted to play cricket for the West Indies growing up. Like, yeah, that was my dream in life. I never, it's funny like how these things work, right? I grew up in Bombay, was born in Bombay, born in Bombay, then it later became Mumbai. But my dream seriously was to play cricket for West Indies. Like, silly dream, you can say, but well, that's what dreams are at times. I played cricket like every other kid in India. Played nets during my school days, my college days, and in through right through to my university days. But I guess I was decent enough. But it wasn't good enough to play cricket at any great level. And then I did stop playing cricket. I grew my hair, started playing the drums, and started a heavy metal band. This is back in the early 2000s. And I did that for a while, not very successfully. And then, cricket journalism. I never grew up wanting to be a cricket journalist, to be honest. I didn't even know it's like, yeah, I knew it's a job, but I didn't know how, like you asked me, I didn't know how to go about it. It just happened by chance. I finished my studies, and I wasn't doing much in life. And then someone recommended that, because but cricket had already always been played a big role in my life. I always watched a lot of cricket like anyone else, but I went beyond it. I always, I don't know, I was just curious about everything about cricket. So it was it kept me grounded for a long time. So someone recommended that, cricket's always been such a major part of you. That's your identity. Why don't you make it your job? And there's some journalism college in Chennai. You should go and, try your luck. And I did it just for that. Like, I just went there. It was a 10-month course. The best thing about it is I met my now wife, who also had joined that course. That is the best thing. But I also got a job with the Indian Express at the end of it. Uh, and here I am, 14, 15 years later, still doing it.
Yeah. So, like, thanks for telling this story to our viewers. They'll be loving to hear it. Now, when we talk about cricket right now, yesterday was a brilliant day. 16th August, a day after Independence Day, India showed there are memes going on that never challenge India around that Independence Day mark. So that showed England like what they didn't need to do. Like when you talk about England, let's first talk about what they did wrong. Like the strategy, when Bumrah came to the crease, till he didn't come, like Ollie Robinson got off punt with classic test match bowling. He got Ishan Sharma with a slow one attacking the stumps. Then just as in Bumrah came, I think they lost their strategy a bit because like they were just looking to attack him on the body, bowl bouncers, take revenge, rather than just getting wickets, because like they were just totally bowling short balls and then wide, like they were not attacking the stumps according to me. So, what is your take on this? Did they lose their strategy or what? Like, why were England not successful in the later part of it?
Now, yeah, I think you summed it up. They had the second new ball,
Hmm.
and they bowled beautifully to get rid of Rishabh Pant and Ishan Sharma, and the game was set up for them. Like, full credit to England as well. After India had made biggish score in their first innings,
Hmm.
thanks to Joe Root, they took a lead, and they bowled outstandingly well. On day four.
Hmm.
Despite Pujara and Rahane's resistance in the middle, they bowled superbly well to come back into the match. And at that stage, with 180 run lead, it wouldn't have been easy, as we saw, to chase it down for that batting lineup against India's bowling attack. But they were still on top. The momentum was with them. And like you said, then they just made it personal. They lost the plot by wasting that second new ball.
Hmm.
You could have bowled a couple of bouncers to make a statement and then bowled full and tried to get him out. But after a point, it didn't look like
Yeah,
they were
like they were
trying to get
pulling
him
the
out.
full over with bouncers attacking a body. Like that won't get you wickets. That would help you hurt a batsman, but like there's rarely when you get, especially to a tail ender.
Yeah, and you're right. And these days, even tailenders don't get intimidated by short
Yeah.
pitch bowling because they. It's not like we were playing cricket in the 70s and the 80s when they anyone batting below nine was couldn't hold the bat. Like these days, even Jasprit Bumrah, all of them can hold the bat. So they might not be the most talented with the bat, so they're not intimidated by short pitch bowling. So England really missed the mark. Who's to blame? I think the captain's to blame, the senior players are to blame, and they also took Anderson off the attack. He bowled just three
Yeah.
overs. And by the time Anderson came back, the game had slipped away from England. Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami made the most of it. They batted really, really well. They were getting behind the line with the ball. But yeah, England just messed up a game that they should have won. If not, they should have been in a position to at least dominate
Draw
for
it.
the rest of the day.
Yeah. So yeah, so like now moving on, when you talk about India, I mean all the tail enders, Ishan Sharma, Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, were batting like pure batsmen. It was not like they were just swinging the bat, getting runs of the inside edge, outside edge, bottom of the bat. There was like there might be 2-3 runs which would have come like that, but like a major part of their innings was from crisp shots. Like they were looking as comfortable as like a solid batter at the crease. It was like the way when India declared, it was looking like give them one more hour to play, they'll still not get out. Like they were batting so well. So like they were playing cover drives, straight drives. Bumrah straight drive was looking identical to Sachin Tendulkar. It was so straight that it was hitting the stumps. Shami's cover drive was brilliant. So like this shows that like they have worked on their batting since like the last tour when India came to England. So like what's like you need to credit the batting coach over there. Like India, like Virat Kohli also in his press conference has said whatever 15-20 runs the tailenders can contribute, our lower order can contribute. Like that's really crucial because if your last 3 wickets give you 60 runs, that makes a massive difference.
Yeah, I think the credit, like you said, should go to the batting coach, to the coach Ravi Shastri, to Bharat Arun, all the whole coaching staff,
Hmm.
to Virat Kohli and all the senior players in that side, because it's been an issue. Like Virat Kohli, you said after the in the post match presentation, he was talking to Mel Jones and he said. It's been a problem, but we identified it and we started working really hard on it. If you go back to the Australia tour, the way Mohammad Shami was hit on the arm by Pat Cummins and the way it looked so bad, right? He was moving away from the ball and, trying to literally walk away from the ball. So
Yeah.
then after that, there have been so many collapses, like, it was get to number 8 and that's it. You can just
Hmm.
wipe out the rest of the Indian tail. So they worked really hard on it and they made the most of their time in Durham before the first test match here. Even in Australia, I remember they worked a lot on off days with the tailenders. Like, Jasprit Bumrah, for example, has really worked on his batting. Like what you
Hmm.
see today is not just by fluke.
Yeah.
It's not one of those tail end innings where he was so chancy and like you could just like laugh at him. And like you correctly said, he was playing proper cricket. He was batting like Sachin Tendulkar after a point. And so was Mohammad Shami. They were playing proper cricket. So, which means that they have worked hard on it. It wasn't just andhadhun. They were like, going for it, and edge pe lakke ball was flying over the slips. This was proper batting, and full credit to them for, wanting to play that role, but also full credit to the coaching staff for backing them. And look, it's won them a test match.
Hmm. Yeah, so like in this part of the innings, what fired Jasprit Bumrah up, according to me, was like again their short pitch bowling. Like there was one ball I remember from Mark Wood which hit Jasprit Bumrah on the head. Since then, he was more determined, more like he didn't want to give his wicket away. He wanna he like just wanted to score runs. He wanted to spend time out in the middle, and like unlike him, he wanted to give the answer with his bat. And also like all those banter, like that was really firing him up, like those conversations with Mark Wood, that Josh Butler conversation when they came in the middle of the crease. Like what I remember, Josh Butler said was, "What's the problem with you Indians?" So like that actually I think fired the whole Indian team up, and like we really saw that when India bowled in the latter half of the day.
Yeah, absolutely right. And and that's the point of sledging and getting into a verbal joust with the opposition. You should make sure that it doesn't affect your own performance, which is what happened with England. Like we spoke about, they completely lost their momentum, their rhythm with the ball, and let the match slip away. And also, what they did was they just fired up the opposition for
Hmm.
no reason. It was if they had not done that, right? I'm not saying India would not have won, but they just put so much pressure on themselves because they're also you can understand that coming from a team who are very confident about how they're performing, where all their players, like in Australia at their peak doing it, they could also back their, they could walk the talk, as they say.
Hmm.
But for an shaky England team, which half the batsmen are so short on confidence, they don't know how long their test careers are going to last. For that team to kind of indulge in those kind of verbals and fire up the opposition and put more pressure on yourself, it just backfired terribly. For England. And like you said, it meant that the likes of Bumrah and Siraj and all of them just could be, they were just cut loose. Like Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri did not have to say anything to them. They were charged. They became their own captains, like on the field, and eventually, yeah, it made the difference for India.
Yeah. So now, when you move to the days like before the last day, obviously, right now we would be like the last day would be more fresh in our memory, but we can't deny the KL Rahul century was really, really important, and that opening stand was itself really important for India to put that up that 300, 350 plus total. Like you should have reached 400 plus, but 350 plus is never a bad score in England. It's like when India were put into bat first, and like if anyone told them like you are gonna get 350 plus, like they would have never like I don't want that, or I want a bigger score. Like they would have always agreed to that because both the captains were looking to bowl first. So like how did like what was the impact of the Rahane Pujara partnership according to you? Because many people are criticizing Pujara for that slow innings, but I think Pujara's innings was really valuable because when you are three down in the first session, like if any one of Rahane or Pujara would have fell in the last moments of the first session or in the second session early, like that would have been a huge problem for India. But they didn't. They showed resistance. They were like Pujara was again solid as a rock. He scored only 45 runs, but he spent out a time of 206 balls in the middle, which was really crucial again, I think.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have criticized them, which is unfortunate. Which also tells you a lot about, it tells you more about those people criticizing them than Pujara and Rahane, because what India was 28 runs ahead. Like, so India were
Mm.
literally 28 for three when Pujara and
Yeah.
Rahane came together, and England were right on top. So they had to soak in all the pressure, survive on a pitch. Okay, it wasn't the most challenging pitch, like or as challenging as it was in the first innings when Rohit and Rahul batted, but still they had to hang in there, soak in all the
Yeah.
pressure, keep India in the game. And yes, we're speaking so much about what India did on the final day,
And doing
but
that when they are not in form, they are on the brink of being dropped.
which is very subjective. Like only people outside the team have been saying that they are going to be dropped. I don't think anyone are now within the team is going to drop Pujara or Rahane anytime soon, right? Like, that's the difference between how the dressing room views the team and how everybody else, including me and everybody, me in the sense the media and everyone else, looking in, right? Like, ghar ke andar kya ho raha hai, only they know. So I don't think they were not on I don't think they were on the brink of being dropped. But yes, that's been the common narrative, which is fine. But regardless of whether they were in form or not, they had to really keep India in
Yeah.
the game. And without that, there's no way we would have seen what happened last evening, right? The Shami Bumrah partnership, it really, if anything, India could have won without it as well. But India could not have won without the Pujara Rahane partnership.
Yeah, like Shami Bumrah partnership also, you can say you would have won without it, but like that would have not given England, like going into the game, like England were already like we cannot win it, we can draw it, which gave England a defensive mindset. Had the total been under 200, like they would have been like, come on, let's win it. Like the body language would have been totally different for both the teams. Like I'm not saying that like Indian bowlers wouldn't have been fired up, like they wouldn't have bowled well, India wouldn't have won, but the body language, England would have been on top at that moment. So yeah, now, like sir, my biggest like issue from here is like India won well and good, like everything was great in this game. The only thing, like all of India's team fired, like every player contributed. Virat Kohli also did to some extent, but the Virat Kohli we're seeing while batting right these days is not the one we used to see like 2 years back. So what's happening to him? Is there some issue or technical issue, or is he doing the wrong thing at the wrong time? Should he be more patient, or what? Is he not determined enough, or like what's the issue with him?
Wow, you just put me on the spot there. What is wrong with Virat Kohli? The million-dollar question. I don't think anything is wrong with Virat Kohli. Yeah, it's been a while between his last century and now, but also you have to remember 2020, nobody played much cricket, right? Like, the world was dealing with other issues, real issues. But I just think looking at him in this test match, it just looks like he's getting desperate to score runs.
Hmm.
The last innings he played away from home before the series was in Adelaide. And in
Yeah.
that first innings, before he was unfortunately run out in the mix-up with Ajinkya Rahane, he was batting like a dream. You'll remember he made, I think,
Hmm.
70 or 80 before he got run out. And that was proper Virat Kohli of old. And we are talking less than 8 months ago, right? It happened in December, that test match. But he just seems so confident about his own game.
Hmm.
Here, after Trent Bridge, getting out to Jimmy Anderson first ball, you could see he came out, he marked, marked a little spot outside his off stump. He said, "I'm not going to touch anything from there." First two balls, he actually did play at it. So, it happens with a lot of these big match players and across sport, right? Like when it's a big match, it's a big moment. They want to own it, right? And you can see it with Virat Kohli as well. He wants it to be about him, and without that ego, you'll never be a great in any sport or any field for that matter. And in that quest to own that moment, you can see he's getting desperate, right? Like
Yeah.
getting into verbal spats with others, and just playing the way he did, and the way he got out to Sam Curran. It's good bowling. He brought one in and took one away. But Virat Kohli in the last 3 or 4 years would not have gone chasing
Yeah.
one ball so wide and getting out before he's made 100. So I don't think anything is wrong technically. I think it's more in the head where he just needs to. I'm not saying he needs to calm down, but those around him will be telling him that, and this win will go a big way. So at least India is now ahead in the series,
Hmm.
right? Like there's a lot of pressure on him as captain as well. He wasn't captain, like when India won in Australia, if you remember. And by pressure, I don't mean that anybody's going to question the fact that he should stay as captain, but for him, for his own sake, he wants to win this series. And now that India are ahead, you'll see a freer Virat Kohli batting, and maybe there's a big score around the corner.
Yeah, that big score is definitely around the corner, and I have a reasoning for that. Like his, physically, he is looking like after getting out. He was like since the like 1 or 2 years since he's not scoring 100. It's looking like after getting out, he's obviously disappointed on the moment at the field. But when he's in the dressing room, like we don't see it. Maybe he is, but like it's not showcased. This match it was, and like he was disappointed when he got out. He was like going in the dressing room, like, but in the dressing room too, he was so disappointed after even 5 hours of him getting out, 4 hours of him getting out. Like he was like, yeah, why did I get out? He was just thinking about that dismissal. So like that shows that Virat Kohli is back, who is desperate for runs. No, like who is determined for runs. Like his aggression in the field also was brilliant. That showed us like that the Virat Kohli is back. His aggression in the field, those him getting into the verbal communications, we haven't seen that a lot in the past few times. So yeah, that big score is definitely around the corner. So fingers crossed, maybe it's next game. Yeah. So now, like, what were your top moments from this game? Like, which were two or three moments which helped in like Bumrah Shami partnership? Definitely. Like, first, I'll tell my top three. Like, it will be the Bumrah Shami partnership. Like India, that opening stand, and I think that wicket of Joe Root in the just after tea. I think these will be the top three moments, because had that wicket of Joe Root not come, I am not sure whether India would have won the game.
It's tough to argue with your points, Arnav. You're on the money. I guess just to be different, I'll pick three other different moments. I think the opening partnership on the first day between Rohit and Rahul, at Lords when England had, won the toss and elected to field, like you said, both teams wanted to bowl. It was a bowling day. And just the way they nullified the new ball and, Jimmy Anderson and Ollie Robinson and all of them, really set the game up. Yes, even England did end up taking the lead, but just the way those two batted told you a lot about India's attitude and approach to this test match. I guess, yeah, I mean, the Shami Bumrah partnership, yes, but why did that Shami Bumrah partnership happen? Is mainly because of the Bumrah spell to Anderson. And, a lot of people have questioned the fact that should a number 11 have been peppered with bouncers the way Bumrah was peppering him with bouncers. But you're talking about a number 11 who's played 160 test matches, and he can
Yeah.
handle himself with the bat. So, but that is what really disturbed England to the point that they made it personal and they lost the plot, as we discussed. So that would be my second moment. And the third moment, I think, is yes, you're right about Joe Root's wicket, but even after Joe Root's wicket, England looked like they could survive. And it came down to that amazing slow ball from Jasprit
Jasprit
Bumrah to
Bumrah.
Ollie Robinson, which, yeah, and once that happened within a space of 7 or 8 balls, the match was over.
Yeah.
Because just the way those two were batting, and it could have well have been Bumrah's like penultimate over in that spell. Who knows? They might just have snuck through because there are only 10 overs left to bat at that point. So that really was the final moment that sealed the game for India, in my book.
Yeah. So, like, summing up this game, a brilliant game for India, Indian fans. Like, this game was as good as any win overseas for India. Like, I would keep it a bit I remember 2001, India, Australia, Kolkata, India versus Australia at Gabba. And this one, like, all three of these, like, this would be a bit down, but still, this game is a really historic one. Though there's a thing to worry about in 2014, also the Nottingham match was drawn and the Lords match India won, but then England won the last three tests. But I really hope that's not the case in this series. Yeah, so like that's me wrapping up the show, and I just wanted to thank you for coming to the channel today. Really huge thanks to Bharat sir today. So yeah, sir, what's your final words today?
No, I mean, my final word is thank you so much for having me on. You spoke about how you watched the 2001 India Australia Test
Like
match,
I have
even though
not
I
watched
know
it
that.
live, I watched it highlights.
Exactly, yeah, because you weren't around back then. So no, it's thank you for having me on. I had a lot of fun talking about cricket, my little journey into cricket journalism, and yeah, where will this Test match rank? I guess it'll rank right on top because India
Hmm.
started. There's a flood of those matches, right? All these
Hmm.
historic matches we've seen in 2021 itself. So it joins that group of great matches. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much. All the best, and I'm sure your show will grow, and hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, sir. Until then, we'll meet you in the next video. So goodbye and peace.